Some encounters require no words, a glance, a fleeting touch in the air, and something unseen begins to move. The man has no time to understand what is happening, yet he is already drawn into the energy field of the woman before him, a kind of energy that cannot be imitated, cannot be performed. It does not come from appearance or speech, but from a much deeper layer, the frequency of the soul. Carl Jung called it anima, the feminine aspect that lies deep within a man's unconscious. When a woman lives in alignment with her true essence, without pretending, without chasing acceptance, without needing to be chosen to feel complete, she awakens the anima within the man. And when that happens, he cannot explain why he feels drawn to her. He only knows that something deeply real is stirring within him. This is not seduction. This is not a strategy. This is the invisible frequency emitted by a woman who has chosen herself, and because of that, no longer needs to be chosen. Number 1. Feminine energy does not come from appearance or words, but from vibration, a frequency. There are moments that no one sees, no one hears, yet they shake the entire inner world. A man walks into a room, passing by dozens of faces, voices, and postures, trying to draw attention. But then there is a woman, not loud, not flashy, who makes his steps stop. Not because she is more beautiful than anyone else, or says anything particularly captivating, but because there is something unnamed, like an invisible current, threading through space and touching something deep inside him, a layer of perception that does not reside in the eyes or the ears, but in the soul itself. The soul does not hear with ears, does not see with eyes, it senses through frequency. In Jung's view, human beings do not live solely by reason. We live in a much broader world, the world of the unconscious. There, primal energies operate silently but powerfully, shaping emotions, perceptions, and even our deepest choices. When Jung spoke of the anima, he was not only referring to the symbolic image of woman within a man's psyche. He was pointing to a kind of connection capable of awakening the forgotten emotional part, the untouched part of the soul. And it is this true feminine energy, not from performance but from presence, that creates that profound resonance. We have grown used to living in a world that judges by appearances. People praise a woman for her smile, her figure, her witty or charming way of speaking. But the thing that makes a man unable to forget a woman does not lie there. It lies in what he cannot explain. A feeling as if she had entered his inner space long before they exchanged a single word. Jung believed some experiences cannot be grasped by ordinary consciousness. In Man and His Symbols, he wrote, "The psyche is not of today. Its ancestry goes back many millions of years. Individual consciousness is only the flower and the fruit of a season, sprung from the perennial rhizome beneath the earth. This explains why certain vibrations, without words, can still awaken ancestral memory in us, a familiar emotion, even if we have never met. Feminine energy does not come from trying to appear gentle, kind, or perfect. It comes from being fully present in one's true essence. The woman does not try to impress. She does not paint herself into someone else. She does not exaggerate to be seen. And precisely because of that, her stillness, her completeness, emits a very distinct frequency, the frequency of truth. The man senses that truth even before any interaction, because in a true meeting, the first thing to move is not thought, but energy. This is a story many have experienced, Though they cannot analyze it, it is deeply real. I don't know why I'm drawn to her. She doesn't talk much, she's not the most striking one, but I can't take my eyes off her. This is not a romantic movie line. This is the soul's experience when it encounters a compatible frequency. Jung would explain it in a simple yet profound way. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it appears outside as fate. Psychological aspects of the persona. When a man meets a woman who awakens something he has not yet realized in himself, he calls it destiny. But in truth, it is the rise of a part of his unconscious, a part her energy happened to touch. Many people believe that to be loved, they must do something special, be more beautiful, say the right things, and make someone feel they are worthy. But when a woman begins to let go of all those strategies and starts living in fullness, when she knows she does not need to be chosen to feel valuable, that is when her energy becomes irresistible. Not because she is trying to be attractive, but because she no longer needs to be. Not because of what she does, but because she is fully herself. Jung once wrote, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks with is not perfect, she is true. And it is from that frequency, one that comes not from effort, but from essence, that love begins to take shape. But this is not the kind of love we often see in films, where everything is calculated to impress. This is the kind of love that makes a man sit alone and ask himself, why can't I stop thinking about her, even though she did nothing at all? That is when we step into the true nature of attraction, not because of perfection, but because of truth. In today's society, where images are edited, emotions are managed, and every word is measured, truth becomes rare, and thus the most valuable thing. A woman who does not try to impress, who does not hide her imperfections, who does not perform a version of herself that is easy to love, is the one who touches a man's soul in the deepest way. She does not walk in to prove she is worthy. She walks in and simply is. And that is enough to change the space around her. Carl Jung understood this deeply when he wrote in Modern Man in Search of a Soul. Only the man who can quietly contemplate his own soul and who can look at his own depths without fear can truly encounter another. We cannot love truly if we are not brave enough to be true. And the woman who lives in her own truth is an invisible invitation for a man to enter a soul-to-soul encounter, where there are no more roles, only presence. Have you ever met a woman like that? A woman whose silence speaks more than 100 graceful words. She does not say, "Look at me," yet you cannot look away, not because she tries to be mysterious, but because she does not hide. And when a woman does not hide herself, she radiates a very distinct energy, the energy of inner trust, a kind of stillness that makes others feel safe without needing a reason. Jung called this individuation, the process of becoming an individual, where one sheds the masks and social roles to become their true self. A woman who has entered that journey no longer tries to be perfect to be loved. She knows, I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. Jung, Memories, Dreams, Reflections. She does not let her wounds define her, but neither does she deny them. And it is that honesty that creates an invisible magnetism. You are still watching this video because perhaps somewhere within you, you too, are tired of having to appear fine, of needing to prove your worth. Pause for a moment. Ask yourself, if I no longer had to impress anyone today, who would I be? What would arise if I let go of the need to be loved and simply allowed myself to be? Let's look at a familiar experience, a party filled with beautiful and charming women. But then there is one, not the most noticeable, yet all eyes keep returning to her. She does not say much, but the way she stands, the way she smiles gently, the way she does not rush to be seen, makes everything seem to orbit around her. That is not luck. That is real energy. She does not send out an invitation. She emits presence. Carl Jung once said, "Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries." Jung, Psychological Aspects of the Personality. She does not become magnetic by cutting out her imperfections, but by embracing the whole truth, the pain, the joy, the anger, and even the quiet longings. And that changes her entire frequency. When she walks into a room, men do not think she is beautiful. They feel there is something in her that makes me want to stay. Maybe that is why men remember women who are real, even when they are no longer in their lives. They do not leave traces in memory. They leave tremors in the soul. A man may forget what you said, may forget what dress you wore, but he will not forget the feeling of sitting next to you if you were truly present in yourself. This is not something you learn through technique. This is something you become once you stop resisting yourself. And if you are still on that journey, remember, your truth does not make you weak. It makes you irreplaceable. What do you feel when you hear this? Leave a comment below to let us know if you are living in your truth or if you are still wearing a mask to be loved. We are caught in a culture of doing something to be chosen, but Jung pointed to a deeper truth. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. Jung, Modern Man in Search of a Soul. You cannot create true magnetism if you do not accept yourself, even when you are not perfect. And once you do, you no longer need to do anything. You only need to be present. That is when a man truly feels you, not as a woman needing to be chosen, but as a woman who has already chosen herself. And that is irresistible. Number 3. Jung and the concept of anima. Why men love without knowing why. When a woman enters a room and without saying a word draws every gaze toward her, it is not because she is the center of attention, but because she is the center of herself. In the previous part, we explored the power of a woman who lives in truth, one who does not try to impress, who wears no emotional mask, who is simply present. But what happens inside a man when he meets a woman like that? Why is it her, not someone else, who stirs his soul in a way he cannot explain? To understand that, we must go deeper into the core of Carl Gustav Jung's thought and the concept he called anima. Jung was not just a psychoanalyst, he was a cartographer of the human spirit. In his system of analytical psychology, the anima is a central archetype. It symbolizes the feminine aspect within the male unconscious. The anima is the archetype of life itself. Jung wrote in archetypes and the collective unconscious. The anima is not merely the ideal image of a woman a man fantasizes about, but a living symbol of emotion, intuition, and spiritual connection, qualities that modern men often unconsciously suppress in their daily lives. That is why, when a man encounters a woman who lives in her energy, authentic, self-contained, not manipulative, she is no longer just a specific individual. She becomes a mirror that reflects the anima within him. He does not love her because she is ideal. He loves her because she activates a part of his soul he has never touched. She awakens the forgotten feminine in him, the softness, the emotion, the connection to beauty beyond words. As Jung wrote, every man carries within him the eternal image of woman. CW 9, Part 1. The question is, when will he meet the one who brings that image to life? You may have heard a man say, "I don't understand why I love her so much," or, "There's something about her I can't explain that keeps pulling me in." This is not an illusion. This is anima projection, when the anima within him is projected outward and attached to a specific woman. But here's the key. If that woman is living in truth, not trying to control or possess, she doesn't sustain infatuation, she opens the door to awakening. Carl Jung described this clearly in 2 essays on analytical psychology. The anima is not the soul in the dogmatic sense, but a natural archetype that expresses the fact that a man has a minority of feminine qualities. When these qualities are repressed, sensitivity, vulnerability, and emotional connection, the man unconsciously seeks them in others. And when he meets a woman living from the center of her being, he senses something in her that feels deeply familiar, something long forgotten in himself. That is why the deepest bonds are not based on appearance or circumstance, but on the feeling that I've known her long before we ever met. Do you feel this speaks to your experience? Have you ever been drawn to someone in a way you couldn't explain, not because of what she said or did, but because her presence made you feel like you'd come home to yourself? And here's the paradox. Precisely when a woman is not seeking to be loved, she awakens the most primal love in a man. When she is not trying to be sweet, not trying to fit the ideal in his mind, she creates the space for the real anima to emerge. Jung wrote, "The anima always contains aspects of the unconscious that can be projected onto a person of the opposite sex. And if a woman lives only as a shadow, only reflecting what a man wants to see, she only reinforces the illusion. But if she lives as herself, unedited, unshrinking, she becomes an invitation for his soul to rise to a new level of being. This is why women who have integrated their inner world, who do not chase love, who are not afraid of rejection, who do not contort themselves to fit someone else, are the ones men fall in love with without knowing why. Because they are not just someone to love, they are living symbols of a part of the man's soul that longs to be reclaimed. And so the emotion does not come from the mind, it comes from something far deeper, from the collective unconscious, where archetypes like anima live and move. Carl Jung believed that true growth only happens when we reintegrate the parts of ourselves that have been split off. Individuation means becoming an individual, and insofar as individuality embraces our innermost, last, and incomparable uniqueness, it also implies becoming oneself. CW7. When a man meets a woman who helps him face his anima, not to live in illusion, but to return to truth, love is no longer a fleeting feeling. It becomes a doorway into himself. So if you are a woman watching this, ask yourself, where am I loving from? From fear of abandonment or fullness within? Are you unconsciously manipulating with a false softness, or truly surrendering to your original energy? And if you are a man, ask yourself, do I love her because she is perfect? Or because she reminds me of a part of myself I've never dared to face? Leave your thoughts below this video. We want to hear from your real experience, not theory, but truth. Have you ever loved like that? Loved without being able to explain it, only knowing that something in her made it impossible to walk away? Number 4. The difference between a woman who is hungry for love and a woman who is love. Not every vibration becomes love. There are moments of deep connection, as if two souls have known each other for a long time, but then things gradually fade, not from a lack of emotion, but because of an invisible energy that makes the man pull away without even knowing why. What happened? It's not that he didn't feel something special with her. It's that he sensed a void he could not fill. This is the pivotal divergence between two types of feminine energy: the woman who enters into connection with hunger, and the woman who enters as an embodiment of love already fulfilled. One makes him feel responsible, the other makes him feel free. It's easy to recognize someone who is craving, not through words, but through energy. A woman may be beautiful, charming, and intelligent, but if she enters a relationship with an empty core, hoping that love will fill what's missing inside, she will unconsciously radiate the signal, "Please choose me, please complete me." And men, even if not consciously aware, can feel it. Because, as Carl Jung wrote, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their souls. Psychology and alchemy. A man will feel pressure from something he can't explain, a kind of responsibility to compensate for a void that is not his. In contrast, when a woman is in love, she doesn't need to be filled. She is already full. She enters a space with a quiet strength. She's not seeking to be seen, because she has already seen herself, and that is exactly what makes her irresistible. Not because she needs a man, but because her presence reminds him of the whole part within himself. That's when he doesn't come to rescue her from lack. He comes because he wants to be near the frequency that makes him feel more complete in his being. the right questions, laughs on cue, gracefully manages every detail. But in her eyes there's a silent plea. Let me be good enough to be loved. The other says little. She listens. She is present. She doesn't rush. She isn't trying to impress. But every moment she lives from her truth. No performance, no evasion. And the man feels it clearly. On one side, there is a need. On the other hand, there is fullness. And in most cases, he will be drawn to the fullness, not because of logic, but because her energy lets him stay present with himself. Are you loving from lack or from wholeness? Are you loving to prove you are worthy, or is your love a natural extension of your complete being? Share your feelings in the comments. This is a moment of honesty, where you can speak what you may have never admitted before. When Jung spoke of individuation, the process of becoming a whole individual, he emphasized that it is a journey from inner division to unity. And in love, there is no stronger repellent than someone hungry to be loved. Because, as with a basic law of physics, lacking energy repels, fulfilled energy attracts. A woman who lives in the energy of, I am already enough, sends no distress signal. She radiates a silent invitation. If you are awake, you will recognize me. If not, I remain whole. Carl Jung did not teach us how to get others. He showed the path to becoming ourselves, and from there, to love not as hunger, but as a sacred act between two full souls who choose each other not to survive, but to expand the life within. Number 5. Light and shadow. Integrating the shadow to become whole. And then, when a woman no longer enters love to be filled, but enters as love already complete, she no longer attracts men through a sense of lack that needs saving, but through a powerful field of energy that makes him want to be near her, so that he too can feel more whole. But there is a deeper level, something that not only draws a man in, but also makes him trust her, respect her, and never forget her. That happens when she doesn't live only in light, but dares to step into her darkness, a journey Carl Jung called the integration of the shadow. Perhaps nothing in Jung's philosophy is more essential to the journey of becoming real than the concept of the shadow. Jung believed the shadow is the collection of all parts of ourselves we reject, suppress, or fear, the messy emotions, the unacceptable thoughts, the anger, jealousy, insecurity, and hidden desires. In Psychology and Religion, he wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." You cannot reach the light simply by imagining positivity. You must enter the darkness and bring light into it. For women, the shadow is often even more forcefully denied. From a young age, women are taught to be obedient, gentle, always kind, always smiling, always composed. A woman's anger is labeled difficult. Her desire is called too much. She is loved when she is sweet, accepted when she is cheerful, while her sadness, rage, and fatigue are all buried in the unconscious. But what happens when a woman keeps cutting off parts of herself to fit the image of a good girl? She becomes easy to love, but is never truly seen. On the other hand, when a woman begins to do what society discourages, faces her anger, acknowledges her grief, dares to desire, dares to fall apart, dares not to have it all figured out, something powerful begins to happen. Her energy becomes intensely alive. She stops trying to be perfect. She becomes whole. And that is what stirs a man deep within. Not because she is always positive, but because around her, he too feels safe to be fully human. sometimes angry, sometimes unsure, sometimes vulnerable. A woman who has embraced her shadow is a woman who can hold space for his. Have you ever felt drawn to someone not because they were pleasant, but because they lived so truthfully there was nothing hidden? They didn't have to be cheerful all the time, but every emotion they expressed carried weight, depth, and touched something raw in you. Share your experience, because it is through these honest stories that this community grows in depth. Jung wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." CW13, Alchemical Studies. And it's true. Only when a woman dares to love herself in her anger, in her sorrow, in her fragility, does her energy carry real fullness. She doesn't need to script it. She doesn't need to hide the imperfect parts. She stands there, with both her light and her shadow, and invites the world into truth. That kind of presence doesn't just attract a man. It makes him feel deeply accepted. A real example: some women are always sweet, always smiling, perfectly put together. But after a few dates, the man feels the connection is shallow, as if she's performing a role she thinks he wants. In contrast, there's another woman who isn't afraid to say she feels insecure, who openly shares past pain, who doesn't hide her tears, and she's the one who leaves an unforgettable mark. Not because she needs saving, but because she has already saved herself by refusing to abandon any part of who she is. When a woman steps into the journey of integrating her shadow, she becomes whole. Jung called this individuation, the process by which all the fragmented parts of us are brought back into unity. In The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, he wrote, "Individuation means becoming an individual, and insofar as individuality embraces our innermost, last, and incomparable uniqueness, it also implies becoming oneself. It does not mean becoming the perfect image others want. It means becoming the one and only self you truly are. And that is what creates an unreplicable kind of magnetism. A woman who has integrated her shadow does not seek validation from the world. She is not afraid of being misunderstood. She does not believe she must be easy to love to be lovable. She allows every part of herself to exist, and that truth is what stirs men who are awake enough to feel it. If you are on the journey of returning to yourself, do not fear the shadow. Do not fear the parts of you that were once labeled ugly, too much, or unacceptable. Because it is only when you dare to face them that you are no longer silently ruled by them. You will live, not perform. You will love, not bargain. And love will find you not because you are perfect, but because you are real. Number 6. No more chasing, no more needing to be chosen, only vibrating. When a woman has embraced both her light and her shadow, she no longer needs acceptance to feel worthy. She doesn't try to soften her anger to appear lovable, doesn't hide her sadness to seem positive, and doesn't suppress her desire to fit someone's expectations. The moment she stops adjusting herself to match the mold of the ideal woman, something profound begins to unfold. She stops chasing, stops trying to be chosen, and begins to vibrate from the core of her being. This is the transformation Carl Jung referred to as individuation. Picture this. A woman walks into a room, not with a desire to be seen, but with the quiet peace of someone who has already seen herself first. No need to perform, no need to stand out, no need to please. She does not ask, "Will you choose me?" She lives with a silent certainty. I have chosen myself. This is not coldness nor arrogance. This is the energy of integration, when all parts of her have returned to a center that no longer depends on external validation. Jung defined individuation as the journey back to the true self, where the ego is no longer the center of the universe, but becomes a bridge to the larger self. In the relations between the ego and the unconscious, he wrote, individuation means becoming a single, homogeneous being, and, insofar as individuality embraces our innermost, last and incomparable uniqueness, it also implies becoming one's self. A woman who has entered this journey no longer acts from lack. She doesn't love to be filled. She doesn't do to be loved. She loves herself first, and everything else is a reflection of that. Have you ever met a woman like that? A woman who does not chase love, nor avoid it. She is present like a natural magnetic field. Around her you don't feel manipulated, and you don't feel judged, but you do feel challenged, because her wholeness doesn't allow half-hearted energy. This is exactly what Jung meant when he said, "The self is our life's goal, for it is the completest expression of that fateful combination we call individuality. Memories, dreams, reflections." The individuated woman doesn't wait to be chosen. She chooses. But her choice is not a strategy. It is frequency. Something interesting happens when a woman vibrates from her center. Her energy begins to choose for her. She doesn't need to control who enters or exits her life. The field she radiates does the filtering. Those in resonance remain. Those not ready naturally fade away. Like a radio signal, no one is forced to tune in, but only those who are aligned will hear. She does not manipulate. She does not lure, but she cannot be ignored. How do you feel when you hear this? Have you ever been in a state where you didn't have to try, yet the right people, opportunities, or connections found you? Or are you still unconsciously chasing something to fill an inner void? Share in the comments so that you too, may be seen on your journey back to your center. Jung said, "What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size." When a woman resists the truth of herself, resists loneliness, emotion, need, longing, she continues to repeat the chase. But when she stops, when she allows herself to exist as she is, she no longer needs to be sought. She only needs to be still and let her energy do its work. Here's a real example. You can see this clearly on a date. Two types of energy. One woman is active, asks many questions, keeps the conversation going, tries hard to hold attention, not wrong, but exhausting. Another woman listens more than she speaks, present without fear of what will happen next. She doesn't need to score points. Her stillness makes the other want to know more. Not because she has a tactic, but because she has a center. Jung emphasized, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. CW 11, Psychology and Religion. The greatest gift of life is to become your true self. And the woman who has walked through shadow, faced her wounds, healed herself, and loves herself unconditionally, is the woman who has become. She doesn't choose from fear. She doesn't love out of lack. She simply vibrates from wholeness. A man who enters her space won't feel an urgent invitation, but he will feel the pull to be worthy. Not because she demands it, but because her presence sets a high enough frequency that unless he rises, he will feel unfit. And that is the real nature of inner attraction. Have you ever experienced a moment when you didn't have to try, but were seen in the right way? Have you ever loved from your center? Or are you still running in search of validation? Write it down. Because sometimes you don't need the answer right away. You only need the honesty to ask the question. And then, when all strategies have gone quiet, when every performance has grown tired, what remains is not technique, not secrets, but the truth you are living. Men do not fall in love because you are reasonable. They fall in love because something deep within them is stirred when they are near you. A frequency that cannot be seen, but cannot be ignored. A vibration that cannot be analyzed, but cannot be forgotten. A woman needs no persuasion when she fully becomes. Have you ever wondered why some women, with just a single glance or a fleeting moment of stillness, can etch themselves deeply into a man's mind? Meanwhile, others, though beautiful, intelligent or gentle, pass by like a breeze, leaving no trace behind. The difference lies not in appearance, nor in assertiveness or the art of seduction. Jung believed that true connection does not begin with words or actions, but in silence, when two souls inadvertently touch and awaken something ancient within. When a woman carries this energy, even unconsciously, she ceases to be merely an individual. She becomes a symbol, an archetype deeply rooted in the unconscious of a man, carried within him long before they met. And when this happens, he is not merely attracted, he is transformed. So, what is this secret? What makes a woman unforgettable without effort, without strategy, yet capable of igniting an intense longing in a man's heart? In today's video, we will unravel this mystery together, and if you're ready, the journey of discovery begins now. Part 1. Anima. The archetypal shadow hidden within every man. Deep within every man's soul lies a shadow, one that no one taught him, no one passed down to him, and no one can replace. Jung called it the anima, the feminine archetype, the mythical silhouette that resides in the collective unconscious. It is not a memory of his mother, nor the echo of a past lover, nor the resonance of any specific woman in his life. It is like an ancient melody echoing in his blood, existing long before he knew love or could name a romance. And then, in an unexpected moment, when he meets a woman in the real world, that melody suddenly rises. He doesn't know why, but the feeling is so vivid it cannot be denied. The anima is a collective symbol, nourished by thousands of years of history, mythology, and ancestral memory. The ancient Greeks had Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty and love. In the East, there is Kuan Yin, the embodiment of compassion and gentleness. The Celts had their forest goddesses, both enchanting and dangerous. All these fragments coalesce into a shared silhouette within the unconscious of men, like a secret code. And when a woman, in some inexplicable way, stirs this archetype, he no longer sees her as an individual, but as a mirror reflecting his own soul. This explains why at times a man can meet a woman he barely knows, yet her gaze sets his heart racing, his mind spinning with 1,000 possibilities. It is not love in the conventional sense, nor is it physical infatuation. It is the awakening of an archetype. The anima is like an invisible key, unlocking doors in the soul that the man himself didn't know were locked. When this happens, emotions transcend the realm of reason. He cannot explain why he is drawn to her, yet he cannot escape the pull. To draw a comparison, the anima is like a collective dream. In dreams, symbols appear without adhering to everyday logic. A flower may transform into a lover, a river into an embrace. Similarly, in a man's unconscious, the anima is not a real woman, but a constellation of emotions, symbols, and unspoken desires. Thus, when he encounters a woman who touches this deep layer, she becomes a living myth in his eyes, even if she isn't trying to play that role. For example, a man may know many talented, beautiful, successful women, yet one day he meets a woman who doesn't stand out by societal standards. In a fleeting moment, their eyes meet, and his heartbeat stumbles, then pounds like a drum in his chest. His breath grows shallow, then slows, as if his body wants to stretch the moment just a little longer. The space around them thickens, the chatter fades into the distance, and between them lies a silence as fragile as a thread, yet taut as a bowstring. He notices his hands are slightly damp with sweat. His chest expands and contracts with each breath. His eyes catch the smallest movements, the faint quiver of her lashes, the subtle curve of her lips holding back a smile. The sensation is so primal, he feels as though he's met her in an ancient dream. His mind struggles to name it, but his body recognizes it first. That is the moment the anima comes alive. What's remarkable is that the anima is not fixed. It takes on different shades, depending on the man's psychological depths. For some, the anima is an image of tenderness and nurturing, like a mother's embrace. For others, it is mysterious and wild, evoking both desire and unease. Some see the anima in innocent purity, others in fierce unpredictability. But at its core, the anima always shares one trait. It belongs not to reason, but to the unconscious. This is why no dating advice, no romantic strategy can replicate this power. Jung once said, "Anima is the archetype of life itself." This means that when the anima is awakened, a man is not merely drawn emotionally. He feels as though he is touching the very pulse of life within himself. the secrets of feminine energy that awaken the anima. But the question remains, what in a woman can unlock that secret door? What makes a man not only momentarily captivated, but forever haunted? To understand this, we must continue our journey to explore the secrets of feminine energy, the invisible undercurrents that can stir the anima in a man's soul. Before we dive deeper, if you resonate with this content inspired by Jung and feel it touches something within you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your support fuels our mission to bring you profound insights that help you understand not only men, but also the depths of your own inner world. Number 1. Emotional contrast. People are not drawn to smooth perfection or predictability. True attraction arises from jagged edges, the interplay of light and shadow, the unexpected shifts that make the heart resonate on multiple frequencies. Jung believed that within every person exist opposing polarities, light and darkness, reason and unconscious, masculine and feminine. It is the interplay of these opposites that creates true vitality. In love, at the deepest psychological level, what makes a woman unforgettable to a man is not seamless stability, but the emotional contrast she brings. Imagine a piece of music with a single unending note. It would bore you in seconds. But when the sound swells and fades, when the strings tremble like a breeze one moment and roar like a storm the next, the listener's heart is carried along, surprised, anticipating. A woman is the same. When she shows only one shade, always gentle, always cheerful, always accommodating, she may be pleasant, but that pleasantness fades quickly. In contrast, when she embraces the fullness of her emotions, gentle like a stream one moment, fiery like embers the next, at times radiant like morning sunlight, at others quiet like the night, that shifting dynamic makes it impossible for him to look away. He doesn't love her because she's good or she's beautiful. He loves her because she evokes feelings he cannot predict or control. Neuroscience suggests that unexpected emotional shifts can engage the brain's reward system, dopamine, etching memories deeply. This is why a conversation with varied tones leaves a stronger mark than one that is flat and safe. At an unconscious level, a man associates this excitement with the woman before him. She becomes a living melody he wants to hear again and again, because no note is ever the same. Emotional contrast is not about playing games or manipulation. Rather, it is about harmonizing with one's authentic self, daring to live every shade of emotion rather than shrinking into a predictable mold. The more a woman lives true to her full emotional spectrum, the more she awakens vitality in a man, not because he wants to control her, but because her unpredictability reminds him that life is a flow, not a straight line. Like a film, the stories we remember are not one-dimensional, but those that make us laugh and cry, tense and relieved. A woman who lives with emotional contrast is like such a film. A man doesn't just watch her, he experiences her, and that experience imprints deeply, enduringly, unforgettably. At a deeper level, emotional contrast taps into the primal unconscious. In the collective unconscious, a woman is not one-dimensional. She is both mother and lover, fairy and witch, redeeming light and challenging shadow. When a woman dares to embody these opposites, she becomes a living embodiment of the anima, the archetype Jung described. And when a man encounters this, his soul feels as though it is seeing a buried part of itself. The power of emotional contrast lies not in making an impression, but in sparking curiosity and a desire to explore. When a man cannot predict a woman's reactions, he must be more present, more attentive. He cannot be indifferent, for he fears missing something unexpected. And the more he connects in this way, the more he feels the bond is not just a choice, but a force beyond his control. Number 2. Emotional mastery. When we discussed emotional contrast, we saw the power of shifting shades, the unexpected hues that make a man unable to stop thinking about you. But there is a deeper secret, one that transforms fleeting attraction into enduring magnetism: the ability to master your emotions. If emotional contrast is the wave, emotional self-mastery is the ocean's depth. Waves may rise and crash against the shore, but it is the vast, fathomless sea that creates a sense of boundless eternity. A woman may captivate a man with her shifting emotions, but to become the anchor he cannot bear to leave, she must have a steady center, a place where emotions are fully experienced without being swept away. This is the difference between a chaotic storm and a flowing river. A storm may stir the waters, but it eventually fades. A river, though winding, flows unceasingly toward the sea, carrying an unshakable resolve. This capacity is known as emotional regulation and management. Jung described it more profoundly as individuation, the journey of becoming one's true self, moving beyond societal masks to reconnect with one's authentic essence. When a woman lives in this mastery, she no longer places her worth in the hands of others. Her joy does not hinge on a text received or ignored, a glance given or withheld. She is like a candle that shines of its own accord. Others may see and be warmed by it, but her light does not exist merely to please anyone. Imagine 2 scenarios. In the first, a woman's heart panics when a man falls silent, failing to send a message. She grows anxious, second-guessing herself, her mood shifting with the smallest signal from him. His presence becomes the switch that turns her inner world on or off. In the second scenario, another woman may also await a message and feel a flicker of disappointment, but she carries on, heading to the gym, finishing a favorite book, laughing with friends. Her joy and worth are rooted in her own rich life, not in his reactions. For a man, this difference creates an immense pull. A woman easily swayed by emotions becomes a burden to him. But a woman with a steady center commands his respect, ignites his desire, and unconsciously draws him in. If you recognize yourself in either of these scenarios, take a moment to pause and reflect. Which one are you living closer to? This brief silence is an invitation to contemplate before we move forward. Picture a great oak tree. When a storm sweeps through, its leaves may tremble, its branches may sway, but its deep roots hold it firm. A woman who masters her emotions is like that tree. She doesn't feign strength or suppress her feelings. She cries when hurt, laughs when joyful, but deep within, she knows she will not crumble because of anyone's absence. This is the energy that makes a man feel safe in her presence. Not the safety of, she'll do anything to keep me, but the safety of she remains herself, with or without me. In Jung's perspective, this is captured in his words. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. A woman who has not embarked on the journey of individuation may lose herself in love, seeing a man's attention as a mirror of her worth. But when she knows who she is, she brings to love not a thirst to be filled, but a gift to be shared. She doesn't need a man to complete her. She chooses him to share with. This choice makes her love feel authentic, free, and powerful. More importantly, emotional mastery not only makes a woman more captivating to men, but also liberates her from cycles of pain. When she is no longer ruled by the fear of loss or the obsession with abandonment, she enters love with true freedom. She loves without anxiety, gives without fear, and, if necessary, leaves without losing herself. This is the highest energy Jung described, the state of a person achieving wholeness. Number 3. Unfathomable mystery. If emotional mastery is the solid foundation that allows a woman to remain independent in love, there is another element that keeps a man endlessly captivated, even after years together: an unfathomable mystery. This is not about playing coy or maintaining a cold distance. True mystery lies in not revealing your entire self just to be accepted, but preserving the deeper layers to be unveiled only to the right person at the right time. Imagine stepping into an ancient forest. Sunlight filters through the canopy, small paths appear and vanish, and somewhere in the distance you hear the call of a bird or the trickle of a stream. You cannot explore it all in one visit. And that's precisely why you want to return, to discover more, to uncover what lies beyond the mist. A mysterious woman is like that forest. She doesn't need to tell all, reveal all, or explain all. Her mere presence evokes in a man the sense that there is more to discover. That unknown space becomes fertile ground for his imagination and desire to flourish. In psychology, the Zeigarnik effect suggests that people remember unfinished experiences and open-ended stories more vividly. A movie with an unresolved ending lingers in the mind. A song that pauses on an unresolved note leaves an echoing resonance. Similarly, when a woman doesn't rush to give everything away at the start, she becomes an unclosed story in a man's mind. He keeps wondering, remains curious, and that curiosity fuels a lasting attraction. Consider the early stages of a relationship. Some women, in their first meeting, share their entire life story, their wounds, their history. The closeness comes quickly, but often plateaus just as fast. Others, however, know when to pause, revealing only a glimpse. They share enough to connect, but leave a quiet space untouched. That silence compels a man to return, to want to know more, to dive deeper. Jung once said, "The real mystery does not behave mysteriously or secretively. It speaks a secret language. It adumbrates itself by a variety of images which all indicate its true nature." Mystery is not something to be explained outright, but a journey to be explored together. A mysterious woman doesn't build an impenetrable wall or lock the door. Instead, she leaves it slightly ajar, allowing others to step in little by little. This slow pace makes the connection feel sacred and worthy of reverence. Think of mystery as the art of light in photography. If a photo is overexposed, every detail laid bare, it feels flat. But when shadows create depth, the image comes alive, sparking the viewer's imagination. A woman who preserves her mystery creates the necessary shadows to highlight her light. She shows a part of herself, but invites a man to explore the rest. Most crucially, mystery is not tactical silence. It is self-respect and confidence, reserving your deepest layers for the right person at the right moment. This choice transforms you into a treasure, not a commodity anyone can pick up. When everything is fully revealed, desire fades. But when something remains unknown, the imagination never stops igniting. This is why a mysterious woman becomes a sweet obsession that a man, even if parted from her, cannot erase from his memory. Number 4. Profound presence. Yet, even when you've sparked a man's imagination, what keeps him anchored is not just the allure of the unknown, but the feeling of being seen and acknowledged in your presence. Imagine two types of conversations. In the first, the other person's eyes dart to their phone. They nod absently. Their smile feels perfunctory. Despite friendly words, you sense a cold emptiness. In the second, the person looks into your eyes, sometimes saying nothing, simply listening, letting silence become a bridge of connection. You feel fully alive, without needing to perform or strive. This is the power of presence. Jung believed that to truly understand another, we must reach their deeper layers, not through explanations, but through wordless empathy. He called this the capacity for empathic resonance, the soul's communion when two people are truly present with each other. In a noisy world, presence is a rare treasure. This is why a woman who is fully present in each moment becomes impossible for a man to leave. Profound presence is like the art of the tea ceremony. The drinker doesn't merely sip hot water, but sits still, letting the tea's aroma unfold, each slow movement becoming a ritual. A woman who is present is similar. She doesn't rush to fill silences or react hastily, but lets her listening and her being become. You offer this, you don't just create romantic attraction, you become a soul's haven where a man finds the deepest solace in being himself. Number 5. Intentional scarcity. And yet, when presence has made love safe and profound, another secret is needed to keep the flame of desire alive: intentional scarcity. This is not about playing hard to get or manipulating through distance. It is a deep understanding that your value doesn't come from constant availability, but from reserving space for yourself and allowing the relationship to breathe. Humans naturally value what is rare. Psychology calls this the scarcity bias. we assume that what is scarce or hard to attain is more valuable. A daily cup of coffee becomes ordinary, but a wine tasted once a year becomes an unforgettable memory. In love, the same applies. If you are always available, always sacrificing, always present even when you need rest, you risk becoming taken for granted. But when you preserve time and energy for yourself, your presence becomes infinitely more precious. Picture two women. The first is always by her phone, replying instantly, dropping personal plans to rush to him when he calls. Her devotion may feel comforting at first, but over time, it becomes something he takes for granted. The second woman is different. She cares and shows up when it matters, but sometimes he must wait, not because she's indifferent, but because she has work, hobbies, coffee dates with friends, or evenings spent with a favorite book. He knows her presence is not infinite. This makes every moment with her carry weight. In Jung's philosophy, this reflects a necessary polarity. The human soul oscillates between closeness and distance, connection and independence. If a relationship leans too far toward one side, too much closeness, too much presence, it loses balance, and desire fades. But with a natural rhythm of closeness and distance, love has room to breathe. Like a melody needing rests to avoid overwhelming the listener, a relationship needs pauses to prevent emotional saturation. Think of a flower. One that blooms year-round is rarely anticipated. But a flower that blooms only for a season, its petals unfolding for just a few weeks, inspires eagerness and reverence for each moment of its beauty. A woman who practices intentional scarcity is like that flower. She doesn't appear at every moment, but when she does, her presence is a season of blooming no one wants to miss. Importantly, intentional scarcity is not neglect or indifference. It is the art of balance. You might reply to a message a bit later, not to test him, but because you're genuinely engaged in your life. You might decline an invitation not to play hard to get, but because you're honoring a commitment to yourself, a yoga class, a day to recharge. When a man senses you won't abandon your own life to chase him, he begins to cherish each moment you choose to share. Jung said, "What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size. What we give too freely often loses value, while what we hold with care grows larger in others' minds." When you don't offer yourself unconditionally at every moment, you allow love to be nurtured by longing, by anticipation, and that anticipation makes the relationship more sacred. Part 3. Jung's psychological warning: the danger when the anima is not recognized. If the feminine secrets that awaken the anima in a man's soul can unlock a profound and transformative love, Jung also left an important warning. When the anima is not recognized, it can turn from a guiding flame into a consuming fire. The initial mystical enchantment can quickly morph into illusion, dependency, and even destruction if one does not understand that what they are infatuated with is not necessarily the real woman, but the archetypal shadow being activated within themselves. The anima is like an ancient mirror, foggy and ethereal. When a man gazes into it, he sees not only the woman before him, but also fragments of his own soul reflected. But if he does not realize he is looking into a mirror, he will mistake it for the absolute truth. He will project onto the woman all the qualities, desires, and shadows that he himself has never confronted. And when she cannot bear all those projections, tragedy ensues. In everyday life, we encounter this easily. Think of a young man just entering love, feeling as though he has found his destined half. He believes she is everything: gentle, understanding, redeeming, mysterious. He builds around her a perfect angel. But then one day, she shows anger, or simply gets busy and doesn't reply to a message. Immediately, the statue in his mind crumbles. He doesn't just feel disappointed in her, he feels betrayed to the core. In reality, the problem lies not with the woman, but with the projection of the anima. He loves the shadow in his own heart and has never truly seen her. Jung called this unconscious projection. When a powerful archetype like the anima/animus is awakened, it easily overrides consciousness, leading people to love blindly. But that is not true love. As if she touched something deep and vague within me that even I didn't know I craved. And because of that, I mistakenly believed that losing her would mean losing that part of myself. The more painful it became, the more I clung. The more miserable, the more obsessed. Now, having studied Jung and the concept of the anima, I understand. I wasn't truly attached to her, but to the archetypal shadow in my unconscious that she happened to awaken. And because I didn't recognize it, I plunged into a vortex of both ecstasy and self-destruction, mistaking it for destiny, when it was really just the obsession of an unhealed part of my soul. Perhaps this is the moment for you to pause briefly, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, have you ever confused true love with an illusion painted by your mind? This moment of stillness will help you listen to yourself before we continue. Imagine walking in the desert, parched with thirst. Suddenly, you see a mirage of a lake. You rush toward it, believing it is life itself. You drink, but are never satisfied, for it is only an illusion. The unrecognized anima is like that mirage. It promises salvation, but if you do not awaken, it will lead you deeper into the desert of the soul. So, what is the solution? Jung does not advise avoiding the anima, for it is an essential part of the psyche. Instead, he calls for awareness. When a man understands that this intense obsession is a sign of his anima awakening, he can view the relationship with clearer eyes. He can love the woman as an independent individual, rather than forcing her to be a redeeming symbol. At the same time, he can begin the journey of integrating the feminine within himself, learning empathy, softness, and acceptance of vulnerability. This is the path of individuation that Jung always emphasized, becoming whole by embracing both opposites within. This also offers an important lesson for women. When you see a man seemingly drawn to you to the point of losing control, understand that you may have touched the anima within him. But do not take on the responsibility of becoming that symbol. You don't need to and cannot play the role of a perfect mirror for his soul. The only thing you can do is live true to yourself, maintain your boundaries, and let him discover his own psychological journey. When all the external lights dim, what remains is not a formula for seduction, but the quality of your existence, the way you walk with inner order, saying yes to what nourishes you and no to what drains you. Enduring attraction does not sprout from the fear of abandonment, but from the peace of standing with your own inner life. Treat this journey like a small daily ritual. Pause for 5 minutes to listen to your true emotions. Write down a boundary you will hold. Do something that makes your soul bloom, even if no one sees. Then let time do its work. The worthy connections will find you, for they always recognize the authentic frequency. No one can possess a person who rests in their own center. They can only experience them. And when you live like that, love is no longer a chase, but an encounter. Two self-sufficient worlds stepping into each other, not to fill voids, but to expand.